It's Monday and it was delivery time and I got too excited and I opened it. The July stickers are here. I was really worried about how this design was going to turn out because of all the purples and blues, so I went with Sticker App's new pink ink option. So her hair stripe, the jacket, and her shoes, it's lost the shading and stuff, which is fine because now it's nice and vibrant so you don't see as much of the dull blues and purples anymore. And I made the windows holographic. But wait, there's even more coolness with these. Ryan recently bought a blacklight flashlight and they glow. Super cool. And it's even cooler in the dark. Let me show you. Alright. So cool. She looks pretty sweet. And this will make a really neat water bottle sticker for sure. So, if you watched my last vlog, you might know, or if you've been following me on, well, I guess I only mentioned it on the vlog. So, my shop is closing on July 31st, which is Sunday, which is in like 6 days. And it's going to be closed for 2 months. I'm not opening it again until October because I have 4 conventions in the next 2 months. And I just don't want to go through the nightmare of like holding stock back for the shop and all that stuff. And my Etsy, if anybody has noticed, has been closed since April. And I had done the Etsy strike and I just never turned it back on. So I'm going to turn everything back on in October because I'm not planning any more conventions after September. So my shop will be pretty much free reign, which is exciting. So the July 31st date is kind of a big deal because the shop closes. It's the last day to get the Patreon rewards for July, and it's obviously the last day also to pre-order the Kickstarter enamel pins. So I think by the time you see this, you'll have a couple days. If there's anything you like desperately want, you could always email me. My email is always in the description box below. But I do have a handful of orders to pack, so let's get to it.
From my window, sun's coming up like the day before. You're like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon. Kenny G saxophone. We'll order in a bunch of food. I'll put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Yeah. Shut the lights, go infrared. We can spend all day in bed. I get the wine and the corkscrew. You don't have to do one single thing. You don't know how much I want you. Just looking at you makes my whole world spin. You don't have to wake up yet. We can spend all day in bed. I'll put the TV in the room. We'll have a Netflix marathon. Kenny G saxophone. We'll order in a bunch of food. I'll put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Shut the lights, go infrared. We can spend all day in bed.
Also, don't let anybody ever tell you that con prep is a beautiful thing, because it's really not. It's really not. Even the front room. Oh, we got an elliptical. Usually this is where I do my test booths, but this is now Ryan's work setup, and I mean, I've kind of made it a disaster. So it's been a couple of days, and I wanted this vlog primarily to be me unboxing all the new stuff that I showed you in the last vlog, because it all got here. And I got so impatient when everything arrived that I just dug into it. And then I went through disappointment because a lot of my charms were not made the way I wanted them to be in the specs. But then after a couple days, I've sat on it and I'm like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought it would be. So let's give you a tour of everything I unboxed off camera. Okay, first up, let's show you the remade Cryptids of the US shaker charm. This one came out perfect, and it has the new Flatwoods monster in it, and all the pieces are nice and big, and they shake really nicely. So I ordered these to replace the other ones, and all the other ones are going into mystery bags. So these ones were nice. I was really happy with these. You know, front and back, same as usual, except the one different piece. That one's good. Literally all the other keychains have a flaw in some way, shape, or form. But again, I've gotten over it. It's no big deal anymore. It is what it is. So I'll show you the ones I was most nervous about that didn't turn out too bad, but like there's definitely something I'm going to adjust in the next printing of these if they're popular enough to justify next printing. But the Stranger Things keychains. So the manufacturer gave me a really hard time with these because I knew going in that the front and back designs didn't line up. And I was like, that's fine. So I kind of goofed because you can see, let's show you Nancy. You can see where the white in between the layers is, that you can like see a nice solid color. And then where I was like, just make that part transparent. So I think in future printings, I'm gonna move their names down below so that way there's not a problem with this. And then the back side, I think the gradient effect turned out really cool. The only other thing that I have an issue with is that I consistently make my artwork too dark and it's hard to see. And I like to keep the protective film on. You can see like this grittiness. That's the protective film for the acrylic. I like to keep this on until it's in the hands of the customer, just in case. And especially for the display pieces, because I do sell them when they're the last ones. But I think so that people can actually see what this is. Like I can't see this through my viewfinder. I don't know if that's any better. Hopefully when I put a filter over it, it'll be better, but like it's hard to see even in the light. So I might have to take the film off the display just so people can actually see it. So this part kind of was like, oh man, that didn't come out as I expected it to. But again, that was my insistence on making it that way. So here's Nancy's. And Robin's. My beloved. And last but not least, Steve, my other beloved. So those came out okay. Not entirely disappointed with those. And the other Stranger Things keychain, the Eddie Munson Protection Squad. This one I actually am fine with. It was supposed to be half an inch bigger than this. Like that's what they charged me for and that's what I requested. But I actually think this size turned out just fine. So again, not up to spec, but not a big deal. These two I'm kind of frustrated with because they were supposed to be tiny. These are the same size as all my other keychains now. So I was like kind of hemming and hawing about these for a long time because then it messed up the plans that I had for my display board. And then I realized the only tiny keychains I have are the tiny version of Periwinkle, was supposed to be a new Smoliv, and then the tiny Monstera leaf. So I've decided I'm just going to scrap all of my tiny keychains. So the remainder of the tiny Periwinkles that I have in stock and the rest of the tiny Monstera leaves are going into mystery bags. So these are going to be part of just the regular keychain lineup, and I hope to add more designs to it because at the moment all of my keychains are plant related or Stranger Things. So these were, again, you know, wrong size, but no longer a big deal. These last two kind of frustrated me, but they're just kind of, it is what it is. So this is a restock of an existing design. This is my Dark Galaxy in a bottle. And in past printings, those stars have been a lot bigger. And like, they had asked, the manufacturer asked if they could be bigger than what I had marked them to be in the specs, and I said yes. And somehow they're smaller than the other ones, so kind of frustrating. I told them, like, this is the one I'm most frustrated about because it is an existing design and now it doesn't match the others. But again, not the end of the world. And finally, Anya. This one, it's the correct size, but for some reason, and maybe this is just my own fault for the design, the shaker pieces are so tiny. I don't think even if I get it up close, you can, well, you can kind of see. But it's like they're so itty bitty. So that was kind of my fault. I should have considered the sizing a little bit more, but I still think they're really cute. And I mean, people are gonna mostly probably buy this for Anya anyways. So I've decided to turn the designs of this charm into a sticker sheet so that the other pieces can be appreciated as well. So that's all the keychains. So I also got a shipment of washi tape in. Now my washi tape always comes out great. This manufacturer that I use is just fantastic. And as you saw last time, we have a restock of the pink Chunky Ween plain tape. A restock of the Coffee Addict tape. And then some new stuff. Here's the little tiny plant guys. Here's the Fresno Nightcrawler artwork that's on the lanyard, and they gave me an extra 10 of these, which is cool. And the lovely tape that's going in the July merch box. And this one I actually had to struggle a bit with because I made the design on the wrong size of what I wanted it to be printed as. And then I also had to adjust a lot of the colors to work in the CMYK printing format. So this is a little bit different than what you're going to see on my graphics for July rewards, but I actually think it came out really cute and vibrant, so I'm not mad about it. And finally, something that came way fast that I made super last minute earlier this week. So we already know that Ryan's going to be the Periwinkle handler, but now he's infamous and is going to be on the promo postcard. And we are going to just hand these out to people. They're not going to be a cost or anything. It's like if you're interested in Periwinkle in any way, shape, or form, you're going to get one of these. So this is kind of like a, you know, this is coming soon. This is what he is. You can scan here. Don't do it yet because it just says coming soon. But I'm going to make a landing page that's all about him and all the different items you can buy of him in the meantime, even though my shop's going to be closed. But yeah, so I want people to be able to have a place that they can follow along for updates and find out everything about Periwinkle when the time comes to launch the campaign. And of course, this is going to change because this is the first run of the sample, and I'm going to do an updated sample for the actual campaign. So this is very exciting, and I have 500 of them. So I hope 500 people between 4 conventions are going to be interested in Periwinkle. So real quick before I sign off on this vlog, I just wanted to reiterate that yes, my store is closing on July 31st, which is Sunday, which if you're watching this on Friday, it's 2 days from now. And honestly, I don't know if it's closing like on Sunday or after Sunday. I'll have to double check. But regardless, the shop is closing, but my Patreon is not. I'm not going to stop posting vlogs, and I'm still going to be doing monthly Patreon rewards through September and August. I already have stuff planned for them and that I'm really excited about, and I think I already told you guys that August's theme is going to be Haunted Cottagecore, which you should start seeing previews of early next week. and it's going to be so amazing. It's probably going to be one of my favorite sets I've ever done. So grab what you want out of my shop. I actually had to take out a bunch of stuff that was low in stock that I wanted to have for the conventions. So sorry if you missed those things. I will bring back pretty much everything when the shop reopens in October. There's a couple things that aren't coming back that have been around for a while anyways, and I'm trying to sell the last bits of them at conventions. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to swing it because of everything else I have going on, but I'm hoping to also launch everything back in October with like some spooky shop update. It might just be all the stuff from August and September Patreon rewards because they are both like spooky related. And if not, then there'll be a small handful of unrelated spooky things. But you'll also see a comeback of the spooky shaker charms, like the candy pumpkin that I literally haven't had in stock since January, and a couple of other things. And then, of course, the pre-orders for the Kickstarter pins also end whenever the shop closes. That's it. Next week's vlog is going to be probably a scramble of me packing for the convention, and I'd like to try and do a little tutorial video about how I create my display boards. So they'll probably be combined into one, and that video will go up on Friday when I'm already at CrunchyRoll. But I hope I see you guys at CrunchyRoll because I'm really freaking excited. This is the first time I'm ever going to be at this convention, and I'm still stoked about getting the chance to be at this convention at all. So if you guys watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. And again, check out my shop before it closes for the longest period it's ever been closed for. And I will see you guys next week in another vlog. Bye!
And that's why I wish you the best and say goodbye. You start to get dressed and then we cry. 'Cause we both know it's gonna hurt, but not as much as this does. We had a good run, don't say we didn't.